So it's 6:33 and it's time for Good Shabbat. Beatles Shabbat. It's one of our themed Shabbat services, and I want to introduce the band before it gets too crazy. And this is Mike Nelson on saxophone, and Mr. Cantor Shirappa, Mr. Kelly on the saxophone. And we got Corwin on the keyboard. And we picked up off the street this guy on the mandolin. Oh yeah, Glenn Goss on the mandolin. Just on the drums. We got Aaron DeLuck on the bass. Brandon on the guitar. And we got Nate over here helping us sing, right? And over there, sitting with her family, it's the four foxes. We got Andrew Shearer Fox, her sister Shayna, her mother, and her father. Judy and Herschel. So, we're going to have a fun time. We have with us Angie McCartney, and she's selling teas and books and all sorts of stuff over there, signed autographed pictures. I already bought some. And we're really, really grateful and glad to have you. It's going to be a fun evening. And what else? Oh, the only other thing before Rabbi Paul does his drosh is that you have to participate. I don't care if it's clapping, I don't care if it's la la la, I don't care what it is. But if you don't participate, you never know what this crazy lunatic standing up here right now in front of you talking would do. Because you see, I would call Robert Landis out in a minute in front of everybody. And I'm so crazy, he's taller and stronger and younger than me, but I don't care, I'm nuts. So we want everybody to be participatory. That's what we do. We don't do services to you, we do services with you. Okay, so here's make sure we do
50% off for OG.
No, 10%. 10. You can tell she's not Jewish, right? She hasn't got the percentage. But, by the way, we are going to give back a large portion of anything we do sell tonight. We're going to write a check to Beatles Shabbat, so to help you guys out. So in 1964, when I was 4, my mum met the widowed Jim McCartney, Paul's dad, through mutual friends and a happenstance, and I really believe that the red thread of life and the universe ties us all together, and we're all meant to be where we're supposed to be for some particular reason that, you know, we're not smart enough to know now, and maybe never will, but that's the way that goes. And do you want to tell the story about the night Jim proposed to you and how our life changed?
Oh yes, how romantic it was. I had met Jim a couple of times through his niece, and she said, "You must come and meet Uncle Jim. He lives alone in a big house across the other side of the River Mersey." So I took Ruth to my friend's house. We had a joint babysitter, put the kids to bed, got in a taxi, went through the Mersey Tunnel to the other side to Jim's house. And as we drove in the driveway of Rembrandt, the house that Paul had bought for his dad, Jim opened the door, and I remember looking at him and thinking, you know, the light bulb thing? I know it sounds nutty, but I just knew that this was somebody special. And we went in and we had the mandatory pot of tea, like all English people always do. And we sat and talked for a while, and after time, I was playing the piano actually in the living room, played the piano a bit, not well, but a bit. And I was playing the piano, and Jim came, put his hands on my shoulders and said, "I'm going to ask you a question." And I said, "The answer is yes." And he said, "Haven't asked you the question yet." And so we both sat down, and he said, "Well, you can see how I'm living. Paul takes care of me, but I'm lonely. There's fans outside the house day and night. I'm frightened to go outside in case they do something, and I've got arthritis, I can't drive anymore. I need someone to take care of me. I either need a wife, a housekeeper, or just someone to move in." And I said, "Well, I was pretty old-fashioned in those days. It's all changed since. But I said, with a 4-year-old daughter, I would only go for marriage." And he said, "Okay then, that's settled." And shortly after the telephone rang, and Jim answered it. He said, "Hello, son." And I thought, "Oh my God, that's him. Him, the Beatle him." And he said, "Yeah, she is." "Yes, I have. Yes, we are." So obviously the questions were, is she there? Have you asked her? And is she going to? And Jim shouted, "Yes, she's here. Hold on, Ange, come and talk to Paul on the phone." Oh, the knees went, you know, scared stiff. And I said, "Hello." And he was as nervous as I was. He said, "Hello, you sound quite nice." I mean, quite nice, what, you know.
What did he know now?
He knows better now, of course. But he said, "I tell you what, I'll jump in the car, I'll drive up from London, I'll be there in about 3 hours." So up he came, and by that time Jim and I at least had a bottle of champagne to just take the edge off our nerves, and more pots of tea. And I was in the kitchen washing dishes, and the inside garage door opened, and in walked Paul, dressed formally in a suit and a tie and lace-up shoes, and you know, all dressed up for the occasion. And he came and said, "Hello, I'm Paul." I said, "Yeah, I think I know that."
His life changed, as you can imagine. About 7 or 8 days later, they got married, and Jim adopted me. I became Ruth McCartney, which I'm very, very proud to carry my dad's name. And for the first time in a very long time, we went to see my nephew James at the Hotel Cafe this week, who also carried him. He was like, "Tell me about Granddad." So not only do the legacies of family live on, and faith live on, and God and stories, but, you know, Rabbi Paul was right. Music binds us together. I mean, I was lucky enough to grow up in a house where John Lennon would come up and stay the weekend because he didn't have a house in Liverpool once he'd moved his Aunt Mimi south, and he and Cynthia went to live in Weybridge. So he was in the guest room, and Paul would, you know, shamble down, and would make scrambled eggs, which I'll just tell you one quick story behind that. But we had a hatch between the kitchen and the dining room, and Paul was noodling around with this song for a long, long time, and he'd be like, "Scrambled eggs, la 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 la, scrambled eggs, oh how I love your scrambled eggs." And finally, once he and unfortunately Jane Asher unfortunately broke up, that song became Yesterday. So it was originally birthed as scrambled eggs from the man. So again, you know, I was lucky enough to grow up in a house of music and eventually become a musician for a hot minute myself and a lyricist and so on, but it is really truly love, spirituality, music, faith and belief, and lovely people like you doing great things like this.
Yeah, and wanting to help other people pay forward.
Keep us all together, so Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you, I love that, isn't that great? And I went there and I listened to Gamma Fox. And I have to tell you something, what always, you're magnetic. You're a magnetic personality. And you're a magnetic spirit. And listening to you, daven, because you don't pray. You're daven, which I grew up with. It transported me back about 25 years to sit in shul with my father, Oliver Shalom, and both of us listening to my chazan, our chazan, Saul Meisels, who also knew. And I just knew I had to be around you, and every time I'm around you, my entire life, all of me just lifts up, and I have this tremendous smile. Because when I went and I introduced myself, and I said I was from Cleveland, Ohio, we talked for a minute. It was like 2 seconds, you probably don't even remember it. But we just said, I'm so glad you're here. And you gave me a hug. I've never forgotten that. It was it was end of 88, beginning of 89. And being welcomed into that big shul, shul. As an ex-convict and a recovering person, and none of it mattered. All that mattered to you was you as a Jew who came home. And you made it home for me. And I'm so eternally grateful. And I've never told you this story, but I want you to know that. That's what happens when I see you. And I am means more sheer. But Bob, it's not the normal way. Where's Bob? Okay, I know, I'm just saying.
Shine like this before.
Welcome the bride of Shabbos, please.
Oh, ye fish on I turn, but I come to see my heart so long. Doch
Shabbat. Page 31. Vishamru, the prayer of Shabbos. What page? It's page 39. The melody is a little different than what you are used to.
Wow, that was amazing. I see you don't have a name on your drum kit, but we've just officially named you the Mitzvah Beatles. Because we're scouting so we can. But a quick story about that song. My stepbrother brought it home on an acetate in the middle of the night, got a solo and said, hey, I've got a new song, and what do you think? So Ange, being a piano teacher here, valued her opinion.
She played it through, and then at the end he said, so what do you think? I said, I think it's a great song, apart from all that dreadful repetition at the end. And of course it went on and on and on. And at that time it was the biggest single seller they'd ever had.
She said,
oh, it's absolute garbage. I said, I can't say it here. Oh, the song was great, son, but that repetition at the end. So I used to say years later, if you want to know what's a hit, ask Ange. She knows.
Yeah. Shabbat shalom.
Okay. On page 51, we have Osei Shalom.
Love is all you need.